So I'd like to invite the young volunteers who is really taking, as you saw, that taking to the next level. And some of you, if you have been following active autism, you could see like how big and wide the variety of programs now we are running, and it's really growing very, very fast. So I'd like to invite three co-founders of Care for Friend, Ashna, Suhani, and Saidi.
Hi everyone, my name is Ashna, and today I'm going to talk to you about Care for a Friend. But I'm going to start with a metaphor that I find to describe autism so well, and I'm sure many of you have heard of it or read it before yourselves. So we all know that our brains are built of neurons and tissue and pink and gray matter. We study these tissues and nerves to learn about our neurological similarities and differences and advantages and disadvantages. But what if they weren't? What if our brains were built out of metals and plastics and wires? And when these metals and wires came together, in most brains they came together as a toaster. Most people in the world have these toaster brains, where our brains are optimized to make toast. Therefore, we find it the most valuable in this hypothetical world of toaster brains to be able to make a really good piece of toast. Now imagine someone else with this metallic brain, and imagine that his metal and wire came together as a hairdryer. Would his toast look like ours? Probably not. And there's nothing wrong with a hairdryer brain, but in a world where it's better to have a toaster brain, it's a lot harder for a hairdryer to make toast. However, when it comes to drying hair, the hairdryer brain is really good at things that the toaster brain isn't as strong at, like drying toaster brain's hair when she needs it. So if you've caught my drift so far, you'll know that I'm talking about the majority of the neurotypical world. We're the toaster brains. People with autism, they're the hairdryer brains in the scenario. Humans have created practices which us toaster brains are naturally good at, like socializing with friends, networking, learning or exploring all kinds of different activities, which our brains are good at. And while hairdryer brains do that as well, they do it differently and are good at things toaster brains don't immediately recognize or appreciate. Care for a Friend is a project designed to bridge the gap between the toaster brains and the hairdryer brains, and to help both sides understand the differences. We work to improve social integration of autistic children or children with other disabilities, as well as raising awareness. Our main activity is meeting every other weekend to explore a variety of interests by working in pairs at various activities such as painting, drumming, bowling, etc., etc. And they get an opportunity to explore all of these with a friend. So in my opinion, the most important aspect to emphasize with Care for a Friend is how it's beneficial on both ends of the experience. While yes, the kids on the spectrum can build their socialization skills and meet new friends and learn new things, their buddies also have an awesome opportunity to learn from someone whose brain operates on a completely different level, who looks at events with such a different perspective, and become friends with someone from which you have so much to learn. So Care for a Friend is a two-way program bringing everyone forward. And I want to give it to Sahani and Saili to talk more about it.
Hi, I'm Suhani. I'm one of the volunteers of Care for a Friend. And I think we can all say that kids have a general assumption about kids with autism. And it doesn't really matter whether it's negative or not, but they often don't really know exactly what about them until they actually experience a moment with them. And they often think that it's hard to communicate with them and hard to become friends with them just because they can't really understand them and just because, as Ashna said, they don't have a toaster brain. But with Care for a Friend, once you talk to the autistic kids, you can really set aside your differences and you can understand how similar you guys are. And it doesn't matter whether you like the same things because you both are kids and you're able to talk to them just like with any other person. And some of the volunteers, after experiencing the Care for a Friend event, not only did they talk about how fun it was and how much they like how much their experience was completely blew away about autistic kids, but they also understood like how like hard it is for them to make friends, and that they were like really excited to be taking part in something like this, and they definitely wanted to do more. So pretty much with the occasional help from aides, the kids were able to take this on like completely by themselves, and they would just talk to them, have a regular conversation just like you would with any other person. And so when I first met with Akil, I talked to him about some very basic type of topic, and he was like looking at me as if I was some sort of like dumb person or something, and he like blew me away, started talking about astrophysics. And at that point, I was only 9 years old and I had no idea what that was. And honestly, I still have no idea what it is. But he he kept on talking about it, and he was super passionate about it. And I tried to understand, and I feel like that's pretty much what Care for a Friend is about. You talk to somebody, you find a similar conversation, and the kids really like find like how advanced they are. They like have like all these ideas in their brains, and like it's just amazing. And it's trying to get kids together no matter their differences. And now I'll hand it over to Simon.
So, hello, my name is Siley. I'm going to be talking about our project. So, the Care for a Friend project is run by Kids for Kids. We want to help these kids to overcome the struggle that is autism. We want them to feel included, and we want to show everyone how capable they are. Like, before we did this project, I had no idea what autism was. I just thought it was some sort of maybe like some ailment or something that couldn't be fixed. But then when I started interacting, I was so amazed and blown away. So these kids can contribute as much as we can to society. Currently, many people mistreat autistic kids because they're different and they believe that they can't show emotions or feelings. Students talk behind their peers' backs and criticize them for how different they are, even if they can't help it. So we want to change this mindset and uncover how brilliant these autistic kids can be. We want to show everyone how awesome they are. We should never judge a book by its cover, and currently that's what many people are doing in this world. We want people to see these kids for who they are, not how they appear to be. This idea was inspired originally by Akil Autism Foundation, and we want to thank them for giving us this wonderful opportunity to have a positive impact on our society. So, thank you.